The Ohio State Buckeyes have started spring football. What are the early reports? It's not a ton of absolutes we can glean, but what is the buzz around the program? Talked to Spencer Holbrook over there at Letterman Row. He said they've actually gotten pretty good access so far during the spring. What are some takeaways so far with the Ohio State team as a whole? Obviously, all the eyes are on the quarterback position, right? C.J. Stroud goes to the league, one of the best to ever come through Columbus. I don't care what his record was against Michigan. You got Devin Brown, you got Kyle McCord. Listen, pick your five-star, right? Which one do you want? Both 5 stars, both dudes that can sling it. And like I said, they've just had a couple of practices under their belt. We're not really getting into the meat of what spring football will be just yet. But what we can say is they're as advertised, right? Like if they both took the field during spring practice and you were kind of hearing the whispers of, hey, man, I don't know if this is really going to be a quarterback derby. Devin Brown's kind of taking this job by the throat, or vice versa. In this case, that would be concerning to me because that means that you missed on one of those quarterbacks. That is not how it sounds in the slightest. Tristan Gebbia is a 4-star guy out of the 2017 class. Translation, he can play football. Transferred in from Oregon State, a lot of ability. It sounds like Devin Brown and Kyle McCord, the way the ball comes out of their hand is superior. That's not a knock on Tristan Gebbia. I think it's more so a conversation around how talented those 2 5-star quarterbacks in Devin Brown and Kyle McCord. Devin Brown also, by the way, nothing to do with the quarterback battle. The fact that he's wearing 33, football guy, man. Emphatically, football guy. We're in it for slinging Sammy Baugh. I love that, man. I don't even know quarterbacks should wear 33. Football guy, Devin Brown, confirmed. The secondary took some pieces through the portal, have some young bucks that are making plays. More thoughts on that in a second, though. If you haven't yet subscribed to the On3 YouTube channel, would love to have you at the party, man. Content every single day. You love ball, we love ball. We talk it here every single day, so make sure you're locked in. We appreciate y'all for that. Also, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at JD Pakel. Great way for me to hear from you. Great way for us to interact and do more content that you want to see. Like I was saying, the secondary. If you look at Ohio State a season ago, the case could be made that if you are 5% better in the secondary, you make a handful of plays on the back end against Michigan or against Georgia, you may be hoisting a national title at the end of the year. We may be watching you in SoFi Stadium beating TCU. That's not a stretch, okay? They went into the portal and got just a little bit better. It sounds like getting Jahad Carter, transfer from Syracuse, Davidson, Igbinosun. The pronunciation you're going to have to learn because he's going to be a guy for you at Ohio State. Okay, transferred from Ole Miss, started 10 games a season ago in the SEC. Listen, you don't start 10 games in the SEC at corner if you're not a dude. Okay, both these guys having strong returns already through a couple practices of spring ball. And most of what you're looking for at this point is the eye test. They're both passing it with flying colors. Jahad Carter, talked to somebody, they said he just stands out. Straight up, when you watch him take the practice field, just stands out. It was an all-ACC honorable mention. He's proven he can play ball. He's a proven commodity, okay? You're not wondering about what he's bringing to the table. Had 3 interceptions a season ago for Syracuse, led the team. He could be that upgrade for you at the safety position. At the very least, going to be in the mix. Davidson Igbinosun, like I was saying, 6'1", very lengthy, very fluid. Talked to somebody else at Ohio State that said he is one of the longest corners they have seen since Jeffrey Okudah, which is saying something. So that's such a big deal because in modern college football, you and I both know it, you got to match up with big body wide receivers. That's kind of the flavor of modern college football right now. Got to be able to go up against those bullies on the outside. They got somebody in Davidson Igbinosun who is going to be able to match up for you. Okay, so Ohio State's got a bully of their own at wide receiver in Marvin Harrison Jr. They don't make them like him every single day, but you know what I'm saying. That's kind of the flavor. They have 2 guys they feel good about from a size and skill standpoint that can help them improve in the secondary. Again, you improve in the secondary at Ohio State, that's the one position group that you say, yeah, maybe we could just upgrade a little bit. They didn't overhaul the roster via the portal. Only took 6 guys, but the bottom line is they think they got better in the secondary. Sonny Styles, another guy we got to talk about. young buck at Ohio State, they think he's going to help them as well defensively. Both Jim Knowles and Ryan Day are essentially saying, yeah, he's going to play football. He's going to play a lot of ball for us in the fall when it comes time to get after it. So they have some guys they feel good about that are continuing to trend upward from the portal and their young bucks they've been developing. That's a good sign for Ohio State. A defense that wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. Two things can be true. Ohio State's defense kept them playing a national title last year. And also, the defense was better than it was in 2021. So read into that as much as you want to. Again, only if your practice is in. But that's what we're seeing so far. That's what we're hearing in regards to that position group. One other storyline we got to touch on. The jack linebacker position. In Jim Knowles' 4-2-5 defense, kind of a hybrid linebacker, defensive end, stand-up position. Also get it called the Leo at times is a verb you'll hear, or the verbiage you'll hear around that position. They're more or less shelving it for the spring, so they're going to kind of put it away until we get to the fall. We'll roll when we get there. Jim Knowles is saying that's still going to be a part of what we do. Like, don't get it twisted. We will still use that. The reason why we're not seeing a ton of that right now in the spring, it seems like, is depth related. Mitchell Melton, a guy they think could play that position for them. Keep an eye on that. Just because you don't see it in the spring does not mean it's not going to be a factor in the fall. Jack Sawyer played jack linebacker a lot last year. I say a lot. He was kind of their jack linebacker when they went to it, which wasn't all that frequently a season ago. Expect to see more of that this coming year. Jack Sawyer, we're giving every indication he will be a true defensive end for the Buckeyes. And Ryan Day and Jim Knowles, it sounds like, thought that maybe is where he would thrive at anyway. And when he can focus on defensive end, he could take that next step. You got JT Tuimoloau is going to be a dog for them as well. Was their best defensive lineman a season ago. You have those two bookends on the defensive line, and they're able to just focus on being defensive ends. That's a good thing for Ohio State, okay? Because when you go focus on one thing, you're able to give all your attention, all your effort, all your focus to that, and you just, as a result of that focus, attention, and effort over an extended period of time, practice, you get better at it. Instead of having to think about, okay, I got to play defensive end in this formation, and then we shift to this and playing jack linebacker, okay? Now, you see what I'm saying? Divided attention, it doesn't stunt your growth, but I think it does slow your progress at two different things, okay? Focusing on one thing for Jack Sawyer, I think, will provide positive dividends for the Ohio State defense. So when we look at Ohio State as a total body of work, everybody seems to be so hung up on what Ryan Day hasn't done. 0-2 against Michigan the last 2 years. They don't win the Big Ten. You know what Ryan Day has done? 45-6 as a head coach. Okay? Dude wins football games. Ryan Day, first-time head coach. We forget about it. Spencer Holbrook and I were having this conversation earlier from Letterman Row. Follow him on Twitter. Check out Letterman Row, the Ohio State on 3 site. Phenomenal intel for you there. Make sure you got a membership. But Spencer Holbrook said this, and I thought he was right on point. Ryan Day hasn't had the luxury of learning outside of the spotlight. Like Nick Saban learned at Kent State, learned at Michigan State. LSU, Bama does great things. Brian Kelly, same thing, learns at Central Michigan. Ryan Day was like, in the blink of an eye, became the head coach at Ohio State, one of the most highly scrutinized, one of the highest expectations in all of sports, not just college football. In all of sports, you expect a lot from Ohio State. When they don't achieve those ridiculously high expectations, it goes back to the head coach. For better or worse, the blame falls back on the head man at Ohio State. To me, it's like if you were a really good musician, if you were great at playing the guitar, or you could sing, and you're just a phenomenal musician, and they say, okay, great, your first show, Grand Ole Opry, good luck. You could probably be okay. You could handle it. I mean, you're gifted at what you do. You're a gifted musician. Ryan Day, a gifted coach, but he was put in the spotlight from day one. He had to figure it out in the spotlight. You play the Grand Ole Opry a few times, you probably get better, but my whole point in saying this is, and Spencer Holbrook 1,000% echoed this sentiment and said as much, Ryan Day, I think, is still getting better as a head coach. Passing off OC duties. He's attacking what's going on the defensive side of the football. hired Jim Knowles a season ago in efforts to shore up the defensive side of the football. They're still doing that. Like, let's just give it some time a little bit. He's in the spotlight for the first time, and he's 45-6. I understand expectations are what they are at Ohio State. I understand the Big Ten from a difficulty level isn't quite as deep week to week as the SEC might be. Okay, I'm with it. But let's be a little bit slower to pass judgment on Ryan Day. So that's my soapbox. That's sort of what we're hearing around spring football. Devin Brown and Kyle McCord going back and forth. A lot of people still think it's Kyle McCord's job to lose. It's going to be a duel now. Both dudes can sling the rock. That's what we have essentially had confirmed to us thus far through spring football. The secondary, a lot of guys that can play, gives you some encouragement. They could be just a little bit better. The jack position on defense, it's going to be there in the fall, might not be there this spring. Jack Sawyer is emphatically and exclusively a defensive end, which I think is good news for Ohio State, good news for Jack Sawyer's progress at that position. Make sure you lock it in right here. When I say lock it in, make sure you're subscribed. We got college football content for you every single day on this wonderful platform that is the On3 YouTube channel. That is the Hard Count on the On3 YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed. Follow me on the socials, JD Piquel on Twitter and on Instagram. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're going to keep the party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of the Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.